Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalia Lee and I'm the author of the young adult contemporary fantasy novel Song of the Dryad. It is out now in ebook, paperback, and hardback if you want to pick up a copy. Now, today is December 2nd. NaNoWrimo flew by, November flew by, so I want to take a moment to just kind of wrap up how NaNoWrimo went for me and what I am doing moving forward, not only into December, but into the new year as well. So let's get started. I was filming vlogs for about the first week of NaNoWrimo, and those are in my NaNoWrimo playlist, which will be linked in the cards up above if you want to check it out. I think I did like maybe 3 or 4 writing vlogs for Nano, and then I just kind of stopped because I got busy with a lot of other stuff, as most of us usually do during November. It's a pretty busy time of the year, so it's hard to write 50K like in general, but I feel like November is an even more difficult time of year to write 50K. However, I was able to win this year, and it was actually surprisingly easy for me. NaNoWrimo, I've won NaNoWrimo 4 times now. I've participated 4 times and won 4 times, and it's always been difficult, like the past 3 years. But this year was really smooth. It was smooth sailing. It was simple. I wasn't stressed out, and I have a few ideas like as to why it went so well for me, and I want to talk about those. So the first is that the book I was working on for NaNoWrimo is a sequel to Song of the Dryad, and I think that helped me a lot because I was writing in dual point of view, and one of the point of view characters was Charlotte from Song of the Dryad, and I know her so well. And I know her, her family, her friends. I know all the characters in her story so well that it's really easy to write her. Like, it's easy to just fall back into the routine of writing Charlotte. So that definitely helped me because I've never written a sequel before. I've never written anything of the sort. I've never written a prequel, nothing that like goes into the same world as another book that I've written. So it was definitely a new experience for me, and it came with its own set of challenges, but writing Charlotte's point of view was not one of those challenges. Her point of view chapters were extremely easy for me. I flew through them. I found them very easy and fun to write. So that was definitely part of it. I think another aspect that made it being NaNoWrimo easier for me this year is that I have come so far like as a writer with my skills since the last NaNoWrimo I did. So I did NaNoWrimo in 2016. I skipped 2017 because I was working on edits for Song of the Dryad, and then I just won again in 2018. And over the 2 years that I was working on Song of the Dryad, I learned so much, not only about like the craft of writing, but also I learned about myself as a writer and what works really well for me, what helps me stay on track, what hinders my progress. So by knowing myself really well and knowing what type of writing process works for me, that simplified everything. And then the third big thing that helped me just kind of coast through NaNoWrimo this year was definitely word sprinting with other people live on YouTube. So I personally participated in 3 live streams with other people, being Brooke Passmore from By the Brook and Mandy Lynn. So we did 3 NaNoWrimo live streams together, one at the beginning of the month, middle of the month, and then the very last day of NaNoWrimo, and those absolutely helped. And then I also did one on my own. It was like 2 or 3 hours on a Sunday afternoon that I streamed by myself. And then I was also watching other people's streams throughout the week. Like, so if I wasn't streaming, then I was typically sitting down in the evenings and trying to find somebody else that was streaming, and then I just kind of jumped in with them. Some of the people that I streamed with were Alex from the Patchwork Nerd, Becca C. Smith, Kate Kavanaugh, and then Meg Latour had a live stream. So I was definitely jumping into a bunch of them whenever I could, and that helped so much. I work really well under pressure. Like, this is one of the things that makes NaNoWrimo fun and easy for me is that if I have a strict deadline on myself or on something that I'm working on, I work much better, more efficiently, faster, I'm more productive. It just works for me. Whereas if I had had endless amounts of time to write 50,000 words, it would have taken me months rather than just 1 month to write it. Hi, Mew. Do not put your claws in these leggings. So yeah, the word sprints really helped, and then just my ability to be productive under pressure is a huge help as well, because I know that a lot of people feel, you know, if they feel too much pressure, then they can't be creative and they can't work. But for me, it's completely the opposite. I've always been a bit of a procrastinator and, you know, always had to do everything in the last week or when I was in school, waiting until the very last night before something was due to work on it. So I've definitely had a lot of practice in working under pressure, and now it just comes naturally to me. So even though NaNoWrimo went really well for me this year and was relatively smooth and easy, I definitely had my struggles. And this month was my first time writing new fiction since like 2016 and 2017 when I was writing Song of the Dryad. And that comes with its own set of difficulties. So as I was writing, you know, I was able to get my word count every day. For most of the month, I was ahead of the word count by 3,000 to 5,000 words every single day. But even though that was happening, I always had some doubts like lingering in the back of my mind. And part of those doubts were about the story that I was telling and whether or not I wanted to be telling it, and then also how to tell it. So originally this book that I'm working on was going to be like a prequel to Song of the Dryad, or it was going to be a companion novel, so you could really read either one first. But as I started writing it, I realized that you really do need to read Song of the Dryad first, just because of the way that I'm telling the story. You know, technically the story that I'm telling comes before Charlotte's time. So we're going back in time to get more context about what happens in Song of the Dryad. So it does come first. So it's a prequel in a way. But Charlotte is also in this book, kind of experiencing the story with us. So because she's there, readers will need to know her from Song of the Dryad. And that had its own like particular set of struggles. Like it was easier because I know Charlotte, but then it was a struggle because I was trying to decide how to tell the story. Like, should I tell it in flashbacks? Should I tell it through diary entries? Should I tell it through like just strict narration with like some of Charlotte's chapters thrown in? So there's a lot to still be decided there. And I kind of, you know, went back and forth with two different narration styles, and they definitely like flow together, but in edits that's something that would need to be cleared up. And as I was working on this story, there would be some days where I felt amazing about what I had written, and then there would be other days where I would be really, really hard on myself. I would feel like what I wrote that day, you know, wasn't up to the standard that I was trying to hold myself and my work to. So I definitely, you know, even though it was easy for me to write 50K, it wasn't emotionally perfect. Like, you know, there were days when I would sit down with Greg and just tell him, you know, I'm not proud of what I'm writing. I'm not sure of what I'm doing. I don't know if this is the story I want to tell, which is what I'm going to talk about in like the next point that I'm going to get to. So I think I would like to know from you guys too, like what was your emotional journey like during NaNoWrimo? Because mine was very much, I don't know if I would say a roller coaster, because it wasn't like super highs and super lows, but it was definitely like riding the wave of feeling good about what I'm writing and then doubting myself, and then feeling good and then doubting myself. And that always happens to me whenever I am writing a new story. It's always ups and downs. It's like a very normal and natural thing for me to go through, but it still doesn't feel good to be doubting yourself and to be doubting the story that you're writing. So let me know in the comments down below if you experienced any of that with NaNoWrimo. So now we're going to move into kind of what my plans are moving forward in December and then also 2019. So I now have 50,000 words of a sequel / prequel I'm not really sure, to Song of the Dryad. And it's good work. Like, I do feel that what I was writing is good work that can stay in the book. It's definitely not a Song of the Dryad situation where I wrote 50,000 words and then I cut 49,000 and started fresh in January. That was really rough with Song of the Dryad in 2016, but that's not what's going on with this one. Like, I definitely feel good about what I wrote for the most part, but I'm also feeling kind of uninterested in it right now. And I think it's because I am just unsure of, you know, one, how I want to tell the story, and two, how strong the story is that I'm working on telling right now. And this might just be part of like writing a sequel since I've never done it before, and you know, there are new limitations that I have to work under because you write the first book and then when you write the second one, the second book has to play by the same rules. And that's very new to me, so that's going to be something to work through and to learn about. Oh my God, Mew, your hair's everywhere. The fact that the story I'm telling right now in this second book is not what I'm feeling like my heart is interested in writing right now. I want to write something out of my comfort zone. I want to write something that's outside of the YA genre. I have always written in YA and I'm ready to step out of it. And I have this idea in my head for an 8-book series, between 4 to 8 books. I want to make it 8 books, but we'll see like how that turns out. That's definitely rougher, grittier, a bit darker, you know, exploring more mature themes. And I would absolutely call it new adult instead of young adult. So we would be working with much older characters that are going through more adult challenges rather than, you know, teenage young adult challenges. And that's not to say that young adult can't tackle mature themes, because it absolutely can. But just for my writing style, I feel like my young adult fiction reads as rather young. Like Song of the Dryad definitely isn't, you know, like it doesn't at all cross into the new adult genre. It is very much YA, very young. It could potentially even attract a middle grade audience, and I'm very comfortable with that. It was meant to be a whimsical, cozy fantasy read, and I feel like I absolutely achieved that. But now I want to dive into something that's a little bit heavier. And I think that part of this is that I am getting older, and as I'm getting older and experiencing more adult things in my life, I want to start writing characters that are experiencing those same things. So with that being said, I currently plan to save the 50,000 words of the prequel that I wrote for Song of the Dryad. I'm keeping those, I'm saving them, and I will definitely come back to them later. But throughout December, I plan to start outlining this big, darker series that I have in mind. It's absolutely going to be a fantasy. I am just so drawn to fantasy, paranormal, magic, like all of that really good stuff. So it's going to have all of that in it. I've already started compiling ideas. I'm like writing all my ideas down longhand in a notebook right now, because that's always how my new books start out, is just like things written down, ideas, pictures that come to mind, songs that I enjoy. I'm putting everything in a notebook right now, and then I am going to slowly start compiling it into an outline. And because I'm already planning on this story taking up between 4 to 8 books, I know that I need to outline it as a series, and that's very, very, very new to me. I've never outlined a series before, so I've been kind of trying to do my research on how to do that and how to make like a multi-book arc. So if you have any resources for me, or you know of anybody that has blog posts, videos, you know, ebooks that I can read about how to plot a multi-book story, please let me know in the comments down below so that I can check that out or like pick up the ebook, because I feel like I need help. You know, I've only ever plotted one book arc, so I'm not really sure how to go about multi-books, because I know that there needs to be like an overarching story, but then also an arc within every single book. and the characters need to be growing all the time. So it's a lot to handle and I have a lot to learn, but I'm very excited about it. So yeah, that's my update. I won NaNoWriMo. I'm not sure what I'm going to give myself as a reward yet. I had talked to a couple of other AuthorTube ladies about getting tattoos. I have 7 tattoos now, and I would love to get another one that's writing related or Song of the Dryad related, but the tattoo I have in mind for like my Song of the Dryad tattoo is definitely a bigger, more expensive tattoo. And I feel like I need to just like save money right now and not drop $500 on a new tattoo. So even though that was going to be my reward, I don't think it is going to be now. I would really like to reward myself by redoing my office space, because right now my office is like behind me, it's really nice, but in front of me, it's not conducive to good work at all. And in 2019, I'm shifting my focus to freelance editing, and I am going to be home more often. I'm going to be working on the computer more often. So I think it would be great to reward myself by redoing my office, getting myself a new desk, because right now my desk is extremely small. Like all I can put on it is like some sticky notes, a laptop, and like a little pen holder. So I want to have a nice big desk where I can have my desktop computer, my laptop computer, you know, papers spread out around me, books around me. So it'd be great if I could get myself one of those and then hopefully film like an updated office tour or office renovation or whatever I'm going to call it. But yeah, that's my plan moving forward with my new story idea. And I will absolutely be keeping you guys updated as always with what I'm up to writing wise, and also what I'm going to be up to editing wise, since I'm going to start like really start doing freelance editing in 2019. I've already proofread some chapters for people. I absolutely love it. I am learning so much, and I'm definitely going to be sharing more tips with you based on like actual craft and the Chicago Manual of Style and editing and stuff like that. So that'll be in my like Red Pen playlist. I still can't remember what I called it. Red Pen Records, Red Pen Report. It's something like that, but that's where all of those videos are going to be hanging out. So that is all I have for you today. Let me know how NaNoWriMo went for you. I know that there are some people that I was watching on YouTube that like never ever want to do it again. There are some people who loved it and are definitely going to do it again. So let me know your thoughts on NaNoWriMo down below, and I'm going to see you guys in my next video. Bye!